Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am thrilled to have you join me on this transformative journey. You see, every day we dive into a powerful conversation about self-discovery, healing, and empowerment. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself is the first step to living a fulfilling life. You can expect insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories. Plus, we'll occasionally welcome special guests who will share their unique perspectives on self-love and personal growth. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's embark on this journey together. Because it's time to embrace the beautiful person that you are. So let's elevate our lives one episode at a time. Now let's get started. All right, hey, my beautiful people. Well, welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am so thrilled to have you here with me today. And as we continue this series of the Act of Balance in Life, this series is all about exploring how we can create more harmony and balance in our everyday lives. And today's episode is particularly special because we're diving into the topic of finding joy in routine. But before we get into this conversation, I want to remind you that we have some incredible resources available to you to support you on this journey. So be sure to download our free mini ebook, 5 Simple Ways to Set Your Intentions for a Harmonious Life. And for those ready to dive deeper, for our full 102-page ebook/workbook, Balancing Act, a guide to harmonizing your life, is also available. Both of these resources are designed to help you to align with your actions, with your values, and find balance in your daily routine. All right, so let's talk about today's topic, how routines can provide structure while still allowing room for spontaneity, all right? Sometimes we think of routines as boring or rigid, but the truth is that they can bring us a lot of joy when we approach them mindfully, right? Well, in this episode, we explore how routines create a stability and reduce stress and actually invite more flexibility in our lives. But before we get into that topic, let's take a quick break, and then we come back, then we're going to dive more into it, all right? It's your girl, Goddess Nyomi Banks, here on the Season of Self-Love podcast, and we'll be right back. What are some common barriers that prevent people from expressing? Hey, it's your girl, Goddess Nyomi Banks, here from the Season of Self-Love podcast.
Yeah, I would say remorse. So shame and guilt is a very dividing emotional.
And these are one of the many amazing conversations that we have every day, Monday through Friday, right here on the Season of Self-Love podcast with myself, Nyomi Banks, as well as our resident therapist, Dr. Will Washington of Washington Wellness Institute. Come by.
The reality of our relationships with people.
Come by.
And a lot of times we're afraid of how people look at us. And so that compassion can't enter.
You can hit us on our website, the Season of Self-Love podcast.com. Let me ask you this, with the truth, is it... Hey, it's your girl, Goddess Nyomi Banks, and make sure you tune in every Thursday night to Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap podcast, where we talk about everything from love, sex, relationship, cultural differences, and so much more. We're bridging the gap between them all, and we even talk about spiritual uplifting. You need to stop by. Me and Dog Pound Mike, as well as the BTG crew. We have some amazing guests that come through. You never know. Just make sure you tune in Thursday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go to AskNyomi.com and tell them Nyomi sent you. All right, well, welcome back to the Season of Self-Love podcast. This month is all about the act of balancing life. And before we dive into that, let's talk a moment to reflect on the journey that we have done so far in this series. In previous episodes, we've covered themes of self-love, intention setting, and creating a balance in relationship and daily life, right? But if you haven't had a chance to catch those episodes yet, I highly recommend going back and giving them a listen that complement today's discussion. Now, as we prepare to talk about our routines and finding balance, let's begin a brief guided meditation to help us to center ourselves and set our intentions for the conversation ahead. Now, if you are in a safe space, I invite you to close your eyes or just simply soften your gaze, all right? Now, I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose Now slowly exhale. Now let's do that again. I want you to inhale deeply, filling your lungs with air. Now exhale slowly, releasing any tension that you may be holding on to. Now as you continue to breathe, I want you to think about the routines in your life. I want you to picture the rhythm of your day, how you start your morning, and the tasks that you accomplish, and the moments where you find rest. Now imagine inviting a little bit of joy into those routines, visualizing yourself moving through your day with a sense of balance, where structure provides comfort, spontaneity, and brings excitement. Now I want you to inhale stability and exhale creativity. Now as you breathe, I want you to set an intention for today's episode. Perhaps it's to explore new ways to bring more balance into your life, or maybe it's to reflect on how you embrace spontaneity within your routines. Now take one more deep breath in and slowly release. Now when you are ready, I want you to gently open your eyes and bring your awareness back into this present moment, all right? All right, I want to thank you for joining me in this nice little guided meditation just to help ground ourselves. And if you're new here to the Season of Self-Love podcast, this is something that we do every day, Monday through Friday. Help us to ground ourselves before we get into the topic at hand. All right, so let's get into it. Let's jump into our conversation about routines. I mean, we all have them, right? Whether it's how we start our morning, the way we wind down at night, or the tasks we tackle during the day of routines. You see, routine help us to feel grounded and give our lives structure. But why are routines so important? Well, routines creates a sense of safety and predictability. And when we know what's coming next, it reduces stress and anxiety because we're not constantly making decisions or figuring out what to do. In fact, a solid routine can actually free up mental space for creativity and spontaneous moments because we've already taken care of the essentials, right? So let me give you a quick example from my own life. So I used to struggle with time management, especially when my schedule was packed. But once I created a morning routine that worked for me, I noticed how much more productive and focused that I became. And I didn't have time to think about what to do first. I just followed the routine I had set up, and that gave me more energy to be more creative later that day. All right, so but what about spontaneity, right? Doesn't having a routine make life rigid? Actually, it's quite the opposite. When you have a routine in place, you create space for spontaneity. You know what needs to be done, but there's also room for flexibility. And maybe you leave your afternoons open for spontaneous activities, or you schedule your regular unscheduled time where anything can happen, right? All right, so let me share this with you. At this moment right now, as of last Thursday, I started the 75 hard. I started the 75 hard. And the 75 hard was created by Andy Frisella. And I hope I'm saying her last name right. I'll be butchering the people name. But anyway, I had decided that I had wanted to do the 75-day program. He calls it a program, but on social media it says challenge. But this challenge kept popping up in my feeds, right? So I said, where are you going with this, Naomi? Right, so, we have too much. Okay, so let me say this. And I'm just going to be real when I say this. When doing a podcast, it's always tell us to not put a date on anything because you want to make sure that your podcast or the episode that you do, that it doesn't have a date because you want it to be everlasting. But let me tell you this. No matter when they hear this, if they hear this in October, if they hear this in January, if they hear this in February, they're going to know about this 75. And they're going to know, and it's not going to confuse them. Does that make sense? All right, so let me go because I just went on a little spiel right there. Something just tricked and went spiel. All right, so I've started this 75-day 2 days after, well, 3 days after my birthday. My birthday was October 14th. I started it on the 17th, right in the middle of the week on a Thursday. Why I started then on the 17th? Because that will give me 75 days until the end of the year. Until the end of this year, it will give me 75 days. My objective is to leave out this year, 2024, with a bang. So we're coming into my next year, that it will be my new birthing, my rebirthing year, that I come out good, I've elevated, my mindset is straight and is good. Now, as I was reading the rules for this, I was reading the rules for it, for the 75 hard day rules, I said, okay, I've already, kind of had me a schedule together. This should be great, right? I've been doing good with organizing things. Great. I have my interviews planned out, scheduled. All of this will fit in, right? Here's the rules. The rules are every day you take a picture, a selfie of yourself, and this is a progressive picture. All right. The second thing is that you do two 45-minute workouts. And one of those workouts have to be outside. All right. Like easy peasy. In the morning, after I drop my baby off at school, I can go for a walk, right? Nice 45-minute walk. I do that anyway. All right. The second thing that I can do is later on that day, I can go work out in my home gym that I created, right? Yes. I got this in the bag. All right. Now, you get you a nice balanced, planned out meal plan for you. Great. All right. I got that. I have now aligned with my premenopause and vertigo. All right, now remember I just said that. So I got me a nice meal plan, whole foods, whole grains, no processed food, no none of that. Great, I got that all in order. Great, because I was doing that anyway, right? Yes, okay, so I got that all in order. Bam. I'm doing the intermediate. That means from 12 to 8 is my eating window. Great. I'm good, right? All right. So next thing, no sugar, no alcohol. Oh, I got that. I can do that. I've already been there, done that. Yes, been there, done it. All right, now you have to read 10 pages each day from a nonfiction book. Oh, I got this in the bag. You know why I got this in the bag? Because I love to read. Even having down there no Audible. That's all right. I don't need it because I got books. Matter of fact, I just ordered a book from one of the guests that was just on the show that I just interviewed. So I got this in the bag. I got this in the bag. Now you heard all of those rules, right? Now remember, go back a few minutes before. Remember when I said vertigo. Remember when I said that? Remember when I said vertigo? Well, I recently got diagnosed with vertigo. Yes, vertigo. Yes. And if you don't know what vertigo is, I'm going to tell you what it is. Vertigo is a symptom that causes a person to feel like that they or their surroundings are moving or spinning, even when they are not. It can feel like swaying or spinning. It can be mild or severe enough to make it difficult to balance or walk. And vertigo can develop suddenly and last for seconds or days. Here are some symptoms: nausea or vomiting, difficult speaking, blurred vision, hearing loss, tendinitis, weakness, or numbness. Vertigo is the symptoms of vascular dysfunction, which is related to the inner ear. Some causes of vertigo includes Meniere's disease, vascular nucleus, whatever. But yeah, so let me say, and I didn't mean to do it like that, but yeah, that is what I have been going through for the past few years on and off and not really knowing what it was until recently. I have been going back and forth to the doctor about my chronic migraines, right? And so when I go in and I'm telling the doctor exactly what's happening to me, that I feel flushing, in my brain and all of these other things that I'm feeling and my headaches, I can't walk sometimes feel like my legs go, just crazy shit, just crazy stuff, room spinning. Even when I'm laying down, the room is spinning, like crazy stuff. Like I'm thinking something definitely happening with me. So I have this now. Mind you, remember the 75. Remember, I just gave you the rules to the 75. So I'm like, okay, I'm now seeing a physical therapist twice a week to help me to balance that out, right? I just went to go see my neurologist this past week. All right, so we got all that together, right? Remember, I started on Thursday. Thursday and Friday were good days. My Saturday wasn't too good. It wasn't good. And let me tell you why. It's because I'm truly dedicated and committed to doing this 75. And I know I just started this 75 about 3 or 4 days ago, but still I had committed to doing this, ending off my year like this. I remember Saturday being so hard, and I'm just going to be very honest with you all. From the time I woke up at 2:30, 3 o'clock that morning on Saturday morning to 11:30 a.m., I was spinning. Yes, they did give me medication, and I took it. I took that medication at 8 o'clock. At 8 o'clock. Why did you wait so late, Naomi? Because I really don't like medication, but I had to take it. I had to take it. It was just so bad. I take it for my migraine, and I had to take it for the dizziness, the vertigo, and I took it. I took it at 8. It didn't kick in until 11:30. So now I have to do what? I have to fix a meal because remember, my meal time is from 12 to 8. So I fix me my lunch, my first meal of the day. I'm eating. I start to feel better. The medicine has now kicked in. The medication has now kicked in. All right, I said, so today this is going to be my routine. I'm going to do my 45 minutes of my vertical stretches. Yesterday, I went pretty hard. Yesterday, I did the elliptical. I did some walking outside. I did some high knees. I did some standing ab work. And then my second routine at night, I did some stretching. So I'm all in order. I'm feeling good. Like I'm up late. I'm on a computer. I'm doing some work. I'm editing. Replying back to messages. Like I'm working. Had me a nice tea. All of the good things. So I thought when I woke up on Saturday that I was going to feel great and amazing. Mind you, everything was in schedule. My Saturday was supposed to be for editing and scheduling for podcast episodes to be out. Everything. No, that was done. Not at all. Not at all. But guess what? But I was still able to do the 45. So let me go back. So I went to do the 45 outside. That'll be my part of my 45 minutes outside. So I did my stretching outside, battling with the sun, putting the umbrellas, doing that. Now, as I'm doing this, and I'm hearing the instructions from the lady on doing some added vertigo exercises to help me with my vertigo, on top of what my physical therapist has already given me. All right, so I go to the next level with it. My physical therapist was kind of being, a little soft with me, just having me stand up, put my head up and down, side to side, diagonal, for 30-second counts and stuff like that. It was kind of going slow with me. But here I am, the athlete, the one who wants to compete with myself all the time. Oh, no, we about to go. Because I felt good yesterday. I got to figure out how to get rid of this because I want to be living my best life, right? I want to do this 75 hard, right? All right. So in this moment, I'm doing this. Mind you, even though I didn't do this to after my meal, guess what, y'all? I'm still on schedule. I'm still on schedule. And I know this is about joy and routine, but this is the thing is, I still allowed myself that room for spontaneity. Does that make sense? I still allow myself that room for spontaneity. So once I finished that at noon, and I gave myself grace. So let me tell you how, and let me tell you how important it is. And I probably repeat it back in this show again, how important it is to have grace for yourself. It's because things happen, and sometimes you have to change your scheduling. I allow myself to have that moment to where I had to change my scheduling to fit what I was going through at that moment. What I was going through at that moment. And even though I felt crappy earlier that day because of how I was feeling, and I'm going to be honest with you, I was going through the emotions. At one moment, I felt like I fell between the hours of 2:30 and 11. I was like, oh my God, I'm not about to let this vertigo beat me. I'm not. Then I said, you can do this. You've already set a routine. You already know. You've already ahead of the game. So it's okay if you still have to lay here until 11:30. Take that moment to rest your body because you've already prepared yourself with setting your routine. See, the thing is, if I hadn't been doing that in the beginning, my stuff would be messed up. But I had already set a routine. And so that time should have been blissful. My blissful time, I probably had, and I'm going to be honest, from 10 to 11:30 was my bliss, was the time that I was a joy because I understood. That was when I gave myself grace. That is when I said, you know what, look, we're going to get through this. There is no rush to this. And you're not going to fail on this 75. You're not going to fail with this 75. You've already made a routine. You've already set your scheduling. But guess what? Also, you had it where there was room. There was room if something happened. You made room if life started lifing in the middle of your day. And when I felt that, I was like, oh my God, girl, yes, yes. So after that, I did my first 45-minute workout, and my intention was to come into the studio and record next week's shows and edit for the next few weeks. The room started spinning more. I started feeling more nauseous because I forgot when doing these exercises, and my therapist told me, my physical therapist told me, also the woman on the video that I was watching, the more that you do this, the worse that you will feel in the beginning. And she was saying that it might take up to 2 weeks or more before you can really start to feel normal again. And that's whatever normal is for you. So I was like, oh my God, you forgot all about that. You forgot all about that. And so I was like, okay, that's fine. At least I can go read, right? And I'm just going to be honest, when I'm telling you this, it's going to come back and it's going to be okay because we're going to come back to really the topic and giving you the structures on how to structure everything out and how to open, for spontaneity. Because I'm telling you, this has allowed me to have this day My full day was spontaneity. And it's what I am telling you. Because I couldn't get into the studio. It was spinning. When I say the room was spinning, I was walking to the side, sitting up. Man, horrible. Horrible. But I started to read. All right. This is funny. As I'm reading, my head started to hurt more. Right? Ugh. So I stopped. What's happening here? I read yesterday. I read the day before. I read every day. That is something that I love to do. Well, when you are in the process and you're full blown in that trigger moment, in that thing, reading is another part of the triggering that will cause your eyes to hurt when you have vertigo. Excuse me. It becomes more difficult for you to read. Yes. So I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to do this 75? I've already have a challenge with me working out. I can't go hard like I did yesterday. That was crazy. But now is a possibility that I might not be able to read. Oh no, we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this. So then I checked myself again. I said, okay, come on. Let's move it back. Let's play it back. Stop. Yesterday, when did you read that book yesterday? To myself. Oh, right before I went to bed. Yes, right before you went to bed. So how about put that reading for yourself back on the back? I know you wanted to do it in the morning. That was fine. But we had to change things. Like we changed it yesterday. Yesterday you read the book on your way to the neurologist. So these are the things that I had to talk to myself and remind myself what happened throughout the day, that I was able to set myself up when life is lifing, or what we call spontaneous things that happen in our lives. And so I'm allowing myself those moments and those times. So my Saturday was spent spinning, but I was able to read before I went to bed, and I was so happy. I highlighted in it all. And I got in my second 45-minute routine. And for that routine, that was again my vertigo, which right now is more important for me than lifting weights, than doing squats, than trying to run a marathon, than even walking in the park right now. My 245 minutes will be of me doing my vertigo exercises to help me to balance myself so I can be back at one. But I had to share that moment with you all because just to let you know how scheduling helped me when I didn't have anything that was unscheduled. All right. I hope I didn't lose anybody. All right. So here are a few tips for inviting more spontaneity into your life without losing the benefits of a structured routine. Number one, plan for play. Set aside time in your day or week for activities that spark joy and excitement. So it can be a walk in nature, trying a new hobby, or simply spending time with loved ones. Two, switch up your routine. Every once in a while, shake things up. If you always start your day with a workout, try a morning meditation or a creative project instead. Small changes can bring a fresh perspective. And three, be open. Be open for surprises. Life will always throw unexpected moments our way, and that's a good thing. Embrace those moments when they come and trust that your routine will support you when you return it. And I'm going to say it did. For me, it did. Because Saturday, let me tell you, there was a surprise. When I opened up my eyes at 2:30, 3 o'clock that morning, it was like, surprise, it's about to be a very motion day. We're going to be spinning. And child, I was spinning. I was spinning. But then in that process, and let me share this too with you. Even in that process, there were a whole lot of learning experience in that moment, in that from that 2:30 to 3 o'clock window to that 11:30 window. Was that almost 8 hours, if not 8 hours on? In that window, there was so many things that was happening that I look at those as learning moments. But also in that moment, I found joy. What was your joy, Naomi? The joy was that I do have a routine, that I do have some structure, that I do have structure. And actually, it's working for me. It's working for me. And that's when I said, wait, hold on. That's when I realized that I grace for myself. You've already done it. You tripping. So those were the lessons that I found that day. And that just gave, whew, that made me feel so good. And what that did was it helped me through the rest of the day. So even the next day, I was able to get up. I was able to record. I was able to do my routine. I was able to do my shows. I was able to edit. I was able to do all of those things because I did give myself grace. I looked for the joy in that what I thought was my down moment. That wasn't nothing but a teaching moment for me. And I found it in that. And so it's like, okay, yeah. Right? All right, so now that we talked about routines, I want to shift our focus on finding joy and fulfillment. So within those routines, so in chapter 9 of our ebook, and if you haven't got it, I'm telling you to go get it. As I said before, when I first started the ebook, it was only like 50 something pages. Now we at 102 pages. So make sure you go grab it. You can go to the website, the Season of Self-Love website, as well as my Stand Store Elevate Me Self-Discovery. You can go there. And this is that we explore the idea of discovering what truly brings us joy in our daily lives, whether it's through hobbies, creative projects, or simply pleasure. Identifying what makes you feel fulfilled is the key to living a balanced life. So what I want you to do, I want you to think about the activities that light you up. Think about the activities that light you up. Do you have a hobby that you love but haven't made time for it lately? Or is there something new that you've been wanting to try but haven't? See, making time for these activities, no matter how small, can bring more joy into your routine. It is not just about doing more. Sometimes it's about creating a space for leisure and relaxation. Yes, and relaxation. You see, in our busy lives, especially mine, we often forget to take time for ourselves, but downtime is essential for balance. Whether it's reading a book, listening to music, or simply enjoying a quiet moment, allowing yourself time to relax can recharge your energy and improve your mood. So even though I started off difficult on that Saturday, but it ended so blissfully because I was still able to make that time to read. I was still able to rest my body. I was still able to do my vertigo exercise. Yes, the room was spinning, but I understood why the room was spinning. But also what it did, it gave me more content to be able to share with you all on this platform. Hey. But I felt joy in it because, again, I'm going to say it again, because it gave me another story, another outlet to be able to share with you all, which I love to do. I love the Season of Self-Love podcast. I love sitting on this platform and sharing the things that I go through every day, or I get through, or work through, or grow through. So for me, hey, thank you, Saturday. Thank you, Saturday. All right, another important aspect of finding joy is aligning your actions with your values and purpose, like I just spoke. You see, when your daily activities reflect what truly matters to you, it brings a sense of meaning and fulfillment. You think about how you can integrate your passion and values into your routine. Maybe it's volunteering, practicing mindfulness, dedicating time to personal project that's close to your heart. And I know someone who found joy by incorporating their love for nature in their routine. They made it a habit to go for a 15-minute walk every day, rain or shine, and it completely transformed their sense of well-being. It wasn't a huge change, but it aligned with their value of connecting and with the outdoors that made all the difference. All right, so let's take a moment to hear from some of our amazing listeners that we received a few questions and comments from people who've been following along on this series. And I'm just excited to dive into it. All right, so here go the first question. I have a really packed schedule, and I find it hard to balance my routine with being spontaneous. How can I make room for both? All right, that's such a great question. All right, my advice would be to start small. Look at your schedule and identify 1 or 2 pockets of time where you can be a little more flexible. Maybe it's a weekend afternoon or an evening where you can leave your schedule open and let yourself explore whatever feels right in the moment. And it doesn't have to be big changes. Small shifts can create space for spontaneity. All right, now my beautiful people, I want to invite you all to try a quick reflection exercise, all right? I want you to take a moment to think about your current routine and what's working for you. All right, now, where could you invite a little more spontaneity? Where in your already schedule can you invite in a little bit more spontaneity? All right. Now, I should have told you get your purpose paper, as Dr. Will would say. All right. Now, I encourage you to write down 1 spontaneous activity that you like to try this week and how you can incorporate it into your routine. It could be something small, like taking a new route to work or trying a new hobby. Anything that sparks joy and excitement. All right? All right? All right, my beautiful people. I know this is a short one today, but as we wrap today's episode, I want to let's take a quick look at the key takeaways we talked about and how routines can provide stability and reduce stress while also allowing space for spontaneity and joy. Finding balance doesn't mean choosing one over the other. It's about embracing both structure and flexibility in our lives. I want you to remember, if you haven't already, if you're ready to dive in deeper into creating balance, be sure to download our free mini ebook or check out the full ebook workbook, Balancing Act. As well as if you're looking for a way to put these ideas into action, join our 21-day Living Life Balance Challenge. I know we are in the middle of it. We almost done. Excuse my language. You can start from 1. You can start from 1. It's a great way to start integrating these concepts into your daily routine. And again, I want to thank you for joining me today and just tuning in. I hope that this episode gave you some practical tips, inspiration for finding more joy in your routine. And please be sure to subscribe to the podcast, leave a review, or join us on our next episode as we continue to explore the Active Balancing Life series. So until then, take care of yourselves and keep finding joy in every day, all right? Have an amazing day. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery and empowerment here at the Season of Self-Love podcast. Remember, embracing self-love is a continuous journey, and we're so glad to have you with us. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. And don't forget to join our community on Facebook at Season of Self-Love. Connect with like-minded individuals who are also on their self-love journey. Now, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like for us to explore, we love to hear from you. Email us at seasonofselflove@gmail.com and let your voice be heard. So until next time, take a moment for yourself today and remember, you are worthy of love, joy, and all the beautiful things that life has to offer.